What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So finally, the Senate Democrats have released their $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill, or at least the full text of this. Now, I want to address this because there's a lot of speculation about what is going to be in here. Well, we know what is technically going to be in here. I'm going to address that in today's video. Now, Democrats came out with this bill, released the text of this earlier on this morning. However, I didn't want to just come out and tell you exactly what everyone else was telling you. I want to give you some actual context, tell you what is going to happen, what are the next steps, okay? So that's what we're going to do in today's video. So if you're wondering, hey, are we getting another stimulus check? You need to watch this video. If you're wondering, are the child tax credits going to be extended? I'm going to answer that in this video. If you're wondering, are we going to see any money for rental assistance, maybe down payment assistance to buy a home? Well, I'm going to answer that in this video. So first, I just want to thank you guys for watching. If you enjoy this type of content, do me a favor, go ahead, hit that thumbs up button. It really does help out the channel. Also consider subscribing so that I can keep you up to date on everything that is going on. So let's get into the update for right now. Earlier on today, Senate Democrats released their full text of the $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill. This does not specify exactly how the money is going to be spent. However, it does specify how much money is going to each committee. The committee, they will actually put the text of the bill and write the legislation. So that is what's going to happen between now and September 15th. On September 15th, that is when Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer wants the committees to finalize their legislation. That's when he wants them to submit it. That means, again, just keep this in mind, the Senate, they don't come back to Washington until September 13th. So the committees will have to work throughout this vacation and this recess in order to get these done. So we will be getting a lot of updates over the next few weeks. One thing I can tell you as well is that right now, many are saying that we are going to see additional relief to the American people. In this bill, this is technically a stimulus package. It's technically a stimulus package. Yes, it has some infrastructure, but more people are calling this stimulus. Now, I just want to tell you one thing. Even though we're not going to see a stimulus check addressed in this bill right now, according to multiple reports, many Senate aides, they are saying that Democrats are not planning on putting a stimulus check into this bill until possibly the very end. The reason for this, and we heard this from progressives as well, is because if they put a stimulus check or try to add it into this bill initially, that will be one of the first things that gets pulled out. However, according to economists, we are most likely going to go backwards. We're seeing COVID cases increase. We're going to see on September 6th, the unemployment benefits expire. On October 3rd, which we wouldn't be there yet once the Senate reconvenes on September 13th, but on October 3rd, we will see the eviction moratorium that will end. We know there's a lot of things on the horizon. And so this is what some are saying, is that we will need additional stimulus. We will need more direct payments to the American people. We will need additional help to get through this crisis. So what I can tell you is that progressives are going to wait until the last minute, possibly sometime in September, before they actually push for a fourth stimulus check. So let's break down how much is going to go to every single committee, where this money is going to. Again, it's about $3.5 trillion. We do know some progressives want to push this up a little bit higher, and we know many moderates want to see this drop a little bit to about $2 to $2.5 trillion. But what I can tell you is at $2 to $2.5 trillion, that would not be enough to cover what Bernie Sanders, not Mitch McConnell, but Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer and President Biden all want to include in this bill. So here we go. There's going to be $1 billion for the Finance Committee. This is going to help them make investments. There's going to be about $726 billion, a little bit over that, for universal pre-K, childcare, free community college. Just to give you an idea, pre-K is 3 and 4 year olds. Childcare, they want to make sure that no family is paying more than 7% of their monthly income in childcare. We're going to see free community college. We're going to see increased Pell Grants. There's also going to be investments into primary care and job training. So this is going to be big, $726 billion. This is huge. We know there's $332 billion for housing programs. This includes down payment assistance. Remember, I addressed this before. I haven't talked about it in a little while, but for many first-time home buyers that do not have the money to put a down payment on a home. And right now, if you want to get a home, you almost have to pay over asking. And in many cases, you got to pay $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 over asking just to lock into a deal. And that's becoming a big issue. There's also going to be rental assistance and community investments. This is $332 billion. Right now, Democrats say we need to provide more assistance for housing. Too many people could be evicted from their homes. Too many people need to get off the streets. So they plan on doing something about that. We know $198 billion is going to go for clean electric. We're going to, again, tax credit, EV credits. We're going to see a lot of this stuff. Okay, this is where things are going to turn around. So it possibly, if you're planning on investing into electric vehicles, now might be a good time. We are going to see this pass. We also know $135 billion for the Agriculture Committee. $107 billion for immigration and border security. Some say this should be a little bit higher. We will see what the legislation looks like when it's written. However, $100 billion is probably pretty accurate. Right now, we're spending a lot of money. We're spending a lot of money just housing illegal immigrants and dealing with the crisis down at the border. So we need to get this fixed. It's going to be $83 billion for investments into technology and transportation. $67 billion for low-income solar and climate-friendly technology. There will be $37 billion for electrifying the federal fleet. This is mainly through the United States Postal Service. And this is something that's big. Obviously, this is going to take a little bit. It's not just something they can say, oh, let's get all those cars and let's make sure they're all electric. It's going to take some years. It's going to be $25 billion for small business credits and investments. $20.5 billion for Native Americans, and $18 billion to update Veterans Affairs facilities. That is what is currently in the bill. Again, this isn't a comprehensive bill. We're still missing a lot of things. There's no stimulus checks in here, right? That's not in there. But again, that's not a guarantee. But what was a guarantee is that the American people would see assistance. Between now and September 15th, when the committees are supposed to submit their reconciliation legislation, I anticipate we're going to see a bunch. We're going to see a bunch of different proposals. We've already seen a handful over the past week. Okay, last week we saw a handful of different proposals. We're going to see more. Chances are they're going to start coming out now, because now the Senate has released their figures. And so now what we know is, okay, let's say it's for universal pre-K or child care. We want to see additional child care tax credits. Well, there's $726 billion there that's allocated for that. Not just that, but free community college, increased Pell Grants, investments into primary care and job training. What if we increase the child tax credit, right? Again, we've heard many talks on this. This is a bipartisan issue. We've seen Republicans want to increase the child tax credits. We've seen Republicans want to increase the child care credits as well, going to daycare centers, right? We've seen this. So what I can tell you right now is we're going to see more proposals come out. Some will be good. Some won't be as good. Some will be extremely good. Some will be great. And you'll be thinking, well, why can't we get that in there? Here's what I can tell you. You got to keep in mind that we have an election next year. So some of these proposals that we see, all they're really trying to do, all the lawmakers are trying to do, is get their name into the news. And it works. It works every single time. They get their name into the news. The people talk about them. They're like, oh, this is a great proposal. Why can't we get this passed? Well, it's because it's too much. It's too big. And they're really only proposing it to try to get the American people and their constituents to be like, oh, that's exactly what we need. We need to vote for them. Again, sometimes it's just a political game. So we will see, and as I start to realize what's a political game and what's more of just a political stunt to try to get their name into the news, I will obviously bring that to your attention. I will report the proposals and the updates, but I will also bring that to your attention. So just keep that in mind and make sure you stay subscribed so that I can keep you up to date on all those things. Now here's something else. Right now, Democrats do not need one single Republican vote in order to get this passed. They have one additional budget reconciliation bill that they can use, and they plan on using it in this round. They plan on using it for this $3.5 trillion bill. Well, what we know is Democrats have to figure out a way to increase the debt ceiling as well. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has already stated that. She's been telling them, not just Democrats, but all Congress, that we need to do this. And this is where Republicans hold some power over Democrats, because in order to raise the debt ceiling, it can't be done through a budget reconciliation, which means it has to get at least 60 votes, which means all Democrats and at least 10 Republicans on board. Well, as of right now, most don't see this happening. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell has stated he will slow this down. He is not going to raise the debt ceiling. However, reports indicate that he's going to use the debt ceiling as leverage. And Republicans are now going to put pressure on Democrats to lower the $3.5 trillion bill, or they will not support the debt ceiling increase. So there's issues there, but what I can tell you is, as we start to get a little bit closer to this debt ceiling issue, which is, according to Janet Yellen, it's going to come the 1st of October. But we also know that in the 1st of October, there's so many other things that are going to happen as well. So again, we need to see this bill. We need to see this bill passed. We need additional assistance. So we will see. Again, the outline that I just gave you of the text of the bill, the amounts. This isn't the entire bill, okay? This is the full text of the budget resolution. But they still have to put the bill together. They haven't written it. It's just where which committee is going to get how much money. That's really all it is. Now, there was nothing in here for stimulus checks, but just keep in mind, experts anticipate it will come. It will come before it's all said and done. I'm not an expert. I'm just a guy on YouTube. I read a lot of articles, watch a lot of interviews, go and sort through Twitter feeds, and I'm finding all this information for you. Again, I'm not the expert. I'm just reading all this stuff and reporting the facts, reporting the news, giving you an update. Now, what we do know, and I didn't mention it in this layout, but according to Senator Bernie Sanders, there's money set aside for that $300 per month child tax credit extension. That's going to happen. There's money set aside to lower the age of Medicare from 65 down to 60. Also include vision, dental, and hearing. We know Bernie Sanders says nobody making under $400,000 per year will pay a penny more in taxes. And he also stated that they will receive one of the largest tax cuts in American history. And this bill will be fully funded. It's going to be fully funded by taxing billionaires and large corporations through IRS tax enforcement, fees on polluters, and Medicare negotiations. That is what we heard this morning and throughout the day from senators and from our other lawmakers. So, just to give you an idea, I expect over the next couple of weeks, we're going to see a lot more reports from this. This is what the Senate is going to be working on. Their goal is to pass this by the end of the week. Again, if this passes, great, but it's not really a passed bill. It's just they're passing the pretty much the main part, the initial step. Step one, pass the bill so that we can start writing the bill. That's it. Okay, so I will report on this later on this week, but just understand it's not the biggest news if the budget resolution passes. Okay, we expect it to pass because they have to open debate, they have to start negotiating the bill. It's going to be a long process, and we will probably be a month and a half away from what we will actually see. So as I know more, I promise I will share more. I just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.